So, I think it's about time that we talked about Dire Maul East. And, boy, do I have a lot to say about it, so let's just get right into it. Gear on, ice armor, find herbs, get into the line of sight spot, start drinking up. So, first things first, there can be a Dreamfoil spawn here. It's one of the ones that you want to get last. There's also a Grom's Blood over here that's basically in the same situation where you have to aggro a Deathlash to get to it. Other than that, they're all pretty much free. They're not really worth mentioning. You either kill something before getting it or you just avoid the patrol. Alright, let's throw up Ice Barrier, and right here on this line is where I like to jump. Just turn a little bit and blink, and the rotation's pretty simple. You gather them up, Nova, start casting Flame Strike, and Cone of Cold immediately. And everything pretty much just dies. That's it. So, one pack is pretty easy, obviously. Let's try two. And you might be able to tell that I have a macro for Flame Strike. I think it's just at cursor. Something pretty simple like that. Yeah. It just saves you a click. So, we're just gonna again do Ice Barrier. I'm gonna hit the pod just for fun. Got some lashers from it. They should social. And we're just gonna stand right here. There's another pod. We got some more lashers. We're just gonna wait in the ice block for everything to be grouped up, and then we're gonna do the same thing. Flame Strike into Cone of Cold, and hit a couple arcane explosions until everything dies. And that's it. It's pretty basic. There's not really a whole lot to think about. That's one of my favorite parts of it. You never really have to worry about dying. You never really have to worry about aiming anything. In my opinion, it's a lot better than Zul'Farrak for that reason. I think it's also better gold per hour. That's just my opinion. People can make up whatever statistics they want about how much gold per hour Zul'Farrak is worth. In my opinion, Zul'Farrak is roughly 50 per hour. This is about 65 if you have herbalism. I admit, if you don't have herbalism, 45 is less than 50. Typically, you're not going to go to Dire Maul East if you don't have herbalism. That being said, there are better jackpots in here, like Glowing Brightwood Staff, Coal Blade, Freezing Band. I've never seen Edge Masters in Zul'Farrak. I've seen all those other epics. I've seen so many Nostros compendiums of Dragon Slaying. So in my opinion, this place is just more worth it. It's more fun. It's more chill. It looks cooler. The vibes are better. Now I'm just looking for my next herb node. Patrol going this way. Patrol going that way. And the goal is just to get from Pack of Lasher to Pack of Lasher efficiently while picking up the herbs. You want to keep an eye on the patrols to make sure that they don't aggro to you, but typically they'll stay pretty far out of your way. Especially with Blink, it's just really easy to avoid them one way or another. If you ever do aggro them, you can just go back to the safe spot and reset them. It's not a big deal. So yeah, this Pack of Lashers, you can kill it on the other side of the pillar, but it feels a lot more dangerous than it actually is, so it feels safer for me to kill them on this side. I prefer to kill them here. Oh, we got a tough Dreamfoil spawn. So, these are two of the other hard ones, that they're not as hard as the ones that are next to the lashes, because the ones that are next to the lashes, you need to get into combat to get them. This one, it's just tough because that one has a short patrol and this one has a long patrol. So typically you would wait for this moment where they line up, and then you would get the Grom's Blood, then the Dreamfoil. And then also, obviously, we have a book spawn here, so Usually during the poison cloud, if my mana and my health have a huge disparity, I like to evocate, because you're stuck in combat, you can't really do anything anyways. And before I loot the book, I like to turn auto loot off, because sometimes there's stuff in there that you don't necessarily want. Like this case. So, I'm just gonna move up here, break that pod, pull these back. And the reason I pull them back is because the patrol comes pretty deep. I guess you could pull them over to the other side, but even then, like, as a beginner, it's not really worth risking. You just pull them back, it's not a big deal. And then this one, it's kind of the same thing. I'm just going to pull them. You can pull them to either side of the pillar. It doesn't really matter. But I'm going to pull them to this side to hit the pod. And yeah, one split off. It's not a big deal. Another thing you have to look out for here is there's a satyr that patrols. He stealths, so if ever you aggro him, I mean, he doesn't hit very hard, you can just finish your pull, but the thing you have to look out for is the poison that has a really hard slow on it. So if you don't have Escape Artist, you don't have your block, like you can blink, but then you're still slowed. You can Nova, but typically your Nova's on cooldown because you're killing the Lashers, right? So, do you really want to kill the satyr? I mean, you can, it's a waste of time. In my opinion, just avoid the poison and reset as fast as possible. But obviously, I mean, if he's invisible and he sneaks up on you, you can't necessarily avoid the poison, right? And then, like I said, this is the other place where, I'll show it in a second. So, I blink into the tree, and then sometimes there can be a book spawn here. I'll just show this real quick. To get the book spawn, what I do is here you can see there's a hand. It's a grass hand. You want to stand between finger number 1 and number 2. And typically you should be close enough to the book that I used to stand here to loot the book, and I would aggro the Lash so often, and ever since I started standing here, it looks like you're standing closer to him, but he enters combat with me much less often. So I'm just going to grab this. I'm going to take off my ice armor. And then, so normally, I'd have blinked into the tree. If there's a Grom's blood here, take off my gear, run up. Regardless of what's in the pod, you Nova. If it's Lashers, you just try to Nova the Lashers. If something resists, you're just dead, but we're at the end anyways, so we're trying to reset, right? And then, even though it's over, you still want to get back to the instance as fast as possible. I see a lot of people go right. You don't have to go right. Even here, you don't have to go slightly right or slightly left. You just go straight through. You jump over this. You know, the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line, so there's really no reason to go around. Okay, for this one, it's very easy. You go in a straight line, no strafing, and you jump. Sometimes you'll clip a little bit, sometimes you won't. If you go in a straight line and you jump, it won't matter. And then again, we're just going straight line for the next corner. Oh, I wish I could be a Night Elf Mage, that would be amazing. Anyways, straight line to the next corner. And so yeah, between an 8-minute clear time and like a 1.5 minute run back, you're also going to get a longer break between lockouts compared to Zul'Farrak. So like, whereas Zul'Farrak, like, I'll normally get like a 7 or 8 minute break, maybe 10 to 12 if I'm lucky, if I'm going fast. With this, I get almost guaranteed like a 20 to 25 minute break every time, even if I'm going slow. Oh, and here's another thing. If you die, like I said, it's a minute and a half run back. How long is the run back to Zul'Farrak? It's like a minute and a half once you get into the instance. It's crazy. And then again, we're just trying to get to the main entrance as fast as possible. And here there's a jump skip. Let's see if I can actually make it. So you want to go at an angle and you want to jump early. And then from here you can literally just go straight. That's it.